Good morning, traders, and welcome to this week's weekly market analysis of Monday, the 4th of December. Before we get started, as always, please understand that any advice in today's session is of a general nature only and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration. Okay, let me just bring up what's happening this week so we can digest that as I talk a little bit about the major currencies and what we can expect over the current week. Let's kick off with the US dollar. Well, at the moment, the US dollar tax reforms and the threat of President Trump being indicated for obstruction of justice are currently having a bit of a roller coaster effect on the US dollar. Investors are pretty much reacting to every headline that is coming out, digesting the information as quickly as they can, and taking a position accordingly. So at the moment, definitely the politics are overshadowing the actual economics. The main focus for the US dollar this week should be the House and Senate bill regarding the tax reforms. Also, will there be a December rate hike? That decision will happen this month as well. And finally, for this particular week, amongst all that turmoil, we have forgotten that it's non-farm payrolls this week as well, which is traditionally a very volatile segment of the market. So we should look out for that. So that's our key features to look out for in the US dollar. Let's cross over to the sterling. Last week, the sterling, or at least the cable, the GBP USD, finally broke through the 133 level as it produced a strong week, and that was largely on the back of the Brexit negotiations and Prime Minister May's willingness to play ball and make the payment or increase those payments that are basically been stalling the exit procedure. Okay, so GBP this week should have a much more quieter week. There's just a little bit of data coming out, but it's definitely quieter than last week. Moving along to locally, our Australian dollar, of course, it's the Reserve Bank of Australia will be making a rate announcement this week. It is not expected that any changes will take place, but recent volatility will make the accompanying statement much more interesting. So keep an eye out on that one. Aussie dollar. Also from Canada, the Bank of Canada is also due to make a rate announcement. They too are not expected to make any rate movements. Of course, we remember that they recently did increase rates, but Friday's impressive unemployment numbers, which incidentally saw the US CAD itself drop around about 200 odd pips on the back of really good unemployment numbers from Canada. That will make it interesting to see what the Bank of Canada does say regarding interest rates and the outlook for 2018. So those are the highlights. Let me just go through now individually and just point out what you need to be aware of. So Aussie data, of course, on Tuesday, RBA announcement, and the current account as well with retail sales at 11:30. The trade balance as well on Thursday. So mark those on your calendar. US, we have a little bit of data scattered throughout. We have the private sector employment change numbers on the Thursday, but of course the big one is on Friday, which is the non-farm payrolls. GBP, as I said already, we have construction, services and manufacturing data scattered, some today, tomorrow and Friday, but it is much lighter compared to last week. The other highlight that I must highlight is from Canada. As I already mentioned, the Bank of Canada is making a rate decision, and that happens on Thursday. So I guess in terms of things to look out for this particular week, there are three major events, and it's two central banks, which is the Australian Reserve Bank of Australia and the Bank of Canada, which are making rate announcements. They're not expected to make changes to the current interest rates, but the accompanying statements will be key in both those situations. The third major event is from the US, which is non-farm payroll employment numbers, and job numbers, which are due out on Friday night or Saturday morning, just after midnight. Okay, so there you have it. I think this particular week, due to the data that is coming out, the most volatile pair, strictly driven by data, will be the Aussie US dollar. So just note that. And also please note that all the times that I'm showing you here are in my local time, which is Australian Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time. All right, let me bring forward my charts and we shall begin to digest the majors, and let's see what our patterns and charts are showing, and let's see if we can identify any trade opportunities. Let me kick off with the Aussie dollar. When I look at this chart, all right, one thing's for clear, it does look like we have been in trend. All right, one thing that I need to point out, this little level here kind of transposes there, and the question mark now is, have I found a small support level, or is it not? Now, if you recall, let me zoom in a little bit. If you recall, last week I took positions off these two candles over here, which was an engulfing candle. Okay, now had we broken this level, there was a good chance that we could have gone through, but somehow it has found resistance, and that was mainly not from the Australian side of the equation, but it was from the US side, and more so than the Aussie side. But nevertheless, we did produce this green candle. So incidentally, that trade that I took, it got to the one-to-one level. If I'll show it to you, my entry was right there. There's my stop. So you can see that I just got to that one-to-one level. Obviously, I didn't make the two-to-one, but I've basically just closed out. So the question now is, what I would really like to do with this particular chart, I'm just going to box it up. Oh, let me just change that color. I don't like that. Give me one moment. Okay, so when I look at this particular one, before I'm ready to start to trade this one again, because of this candle is taking up that whole width, I would want to break that through, and then that would give me some kind of an indication that perhaps this is a little bit of a flaw. And if it does break through, then what I would be looking at is when it comes back into this area, at this point here, I would be interested in taking a long position. Okay, that's option one. The other one is, if it breaks down, well, then I'd be looking for the exact same things, come over here in this region here, then look for a selling position as such. Okay, so that's the way that I would look at it. Whilst I'm inside that little range, I'm just going to sit and watch. I'm not willing to take a position on this in either direction, even though it does look like there is a bit of a trend there. Like I already mentioned, I feel that there could be a little bit of support coming from that area over here. Okay, so let's just, I'll leave these markings on my chart, and I always suggest to all newer players to do the same. Essentially, it gets you familiar with the charts in terms of when they start to develop, you will see how well your lines were drawn and so forth, and it gives you a better feel for the market. All right, let's move along. That's our Aussie USD. Let's have a look at our Euro USD. Right, let me zoom out a little bit, and let me just mark this one. Okay. We did mention that we cleared this high. The other level of interest is going to be, oops, let me just draw this a little bit straighter. Let me just get a different kind of line. The other level of interest is going to be there. I'm just going to draw a line. And since we cleared that level, there could have been an opportunity if anybody was keen basically to trade this engulfing candle in this direction. If you were to do that and we entered today at this level, which we are in a much better level than up there, your stop would still be the same, and basically you could still get that. I'm going to take this trade right now, guys. The reason for it is I feel that if I enter where I am right now with a stop here and an entry there, so my 1-to-1 level looks to me about there, and my 2-to-1 is still kind of this line over here doesn't affect it too much. Like I can still hit my second target before that line. So let me just set myself up just one moment while I bring across my mini terminal. Turn on auto trading, mini terminal, just drag it in. And my stop, I'll just measure while I'm doing that, has to be about 75 pips. So I'm going to buy fixed cash risk. I'm just going to go like a standard trade on this, 250. I'm risking $250, which is just my standard trade for these Monday classes. I said 75 pips is my stop. My target, I'll put in a 2-to-1 target. 75, but I'll also just remember at the 1-to-1 level, make sure that you take your according action to see if you want to get out of the trade or half the trade or move a stop or something along those lines. Let me just place this. Okay, there it is. And if I bring up my, we can see here, it's actually giving me a 0.25 trade. Okay. All right, so there we are. Euro USD, I'm in. Let's move along. Let's have a look at the GBP USD. Okay, GBP USD broke out of this region, which we had been sort of highlighting, as you can see. So what I want to mark on my GBP USD is I want to mark out this top area. And the most logical trade appears to be, if we allow it to come down a little bit, look for the price action entry somewhere in that area and then hit the trade as we attempt to get towards that level there. That is the most logical trade. At the moment, it's not there. We have to wait for the GBP USD to pull back a little bit, and then possibly we could be there ready to go. All right, so that's my GBP USD. There's nothing else on that one. That one's a fairly straightforward chart. So, and if I zoom out more, you will see it even clearer. You can see that we are climbing. Market consolidated in that area, and it looks like it broke. Let's wait for it to pull back. If it gives us price action, we'll aim to continue in that direction. US CAD. Okay, US CAD, this is the one I was mentioning today. We had this huge candle on Friday, the result of really solid Canadian unemployment numbers, and also the combination that we had bad US speculation with the tax reforms and all the issues that are happening there. So the combination gave us essentially a really big candle in one direction, which is 217 pips. So right now, if I really wanted to trade, typically when you get a candle that looks like this, it's a good probability that it will continue in the direction of whatever color it is, but only when it's a breaking candle. So for example, let's say this was a market that was congested like that, okay, and then you had a candle that broke like this, then typically that is a good sign that it will continue. This candle, although it is a correct type of candle, it's in the wrong spot. Also, if you normally get a market that's going up like that and then you get a big candle in the other direction, it can mean reversal. But this is not the case either. This has happened all in congestion. So this particular case is it doesn't happen often. So let's just leave it. And the only thing that I can, if I really wanted to trade this, what I may be tempted to do is to drop down a time division and try and trade off the edges as such. Okay, so let me have a quick look. Let's have a look at a 4-hour chart. Okay, so right now, if I was going to attempt it, we could wait. We've got to wait 4 hours for this current little candle to finish. Let's see if it remained as an inside type candle, you could maybe attempt to trade it in that direction. Okay, I don't normally like to do it after one big candle like that, but look, let's just monitor it if you're interested in it. It's something that I probably not going to do, but let's leave it as such and let's see how it plays out. It's the only thing available on the US CAD. Let's move along. US yen. Okay, let's have a look at this chart. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, let's just draw a couple of things on it. Let's just draw this level here. I'm just drawing a few lines on my chart just to help me find my orientation. Okay, let me zoom back in and let's see how it feels now. Okay, I cannot see a trade in the US yen, but my gut reactions is let's wait, see if this comes up to that level there. At this level here, I would be interested in this trade or a break-in trade. Okay. The other option is let's just wait, see if it comes down to this line. And over here, I'm willing to look at that trade only. I could look at this one as well, but it would have to be a really nice setup for it. Okay, so those are the two options on my US yen. There's nothing else. So actually for right now, since we are kind of in the middle, I've got to wait to get to these levels or these levels down here. Okay, until then, we do nothing. All right, let's move along. Let's have a look at gold. Let me zoom out a little bit. Real handy tip, just always zoom out of your charts. It gives you a better perspective of what's physically happening. And sometimes it allows you to see the larger picture, which is exactly what you're trying to do. Okay, we're in really heavy congestion here. It's very clear to me, so I'm just going to just throw this around there, and I want the market to move out of this region before I can make a decision on which direction I want to go. Okay, so gold's pretty easy today. We're going to sit and do nothing for it. Okay, let's move it along. Kiwi dollar. Zoom out again. I don't need these lines anymore. Let me get rid of them. Okay, I can see on a 4-hour chart there might be a bit of a channel in here. Let me just quickly see how. I just want to see how it looks. Okay, so look, if I go out to my daily, all right, the area that I'm catching, that is this bit here. Okay, so it's tight, but if I go into a 4-hour chart, we can clearly see that we've had one touch at the bottom, two at the bottom, and one and two at the top. So now the stage is set. So what you want to wait here, I'll leave this channel on my charts. I really like it. So if the market should go to here, definitely I'm interested in this trade, or if it should go down to here, I'm interested in this trade as well. Okay, so mark that one out. Kiwi dollar 4-hour descending channel. This is my favorite type of pattern that I like to trade. So this is a one to definitely keep an eye on. Leave those markings on your chart. Currently right now it is not set yet, but it could be later, early tomorrow morning, or perhaps even later this evening. Okay, let's move along. Let's have a look at oil. Okay, zoom out again. Okay, clearly we are in uptrend. We just missed the trade. So we are in uptrend. I can just see that we've just missed the trade. I'll show it to you. Zoom in a bit more. Uptrend. There's a setup. Inside candle. We've broken it in that direction. Okay. It's pushed a little bit forward, so I'm going to leave this one alone. I don't want to enter this one late. It's at a worse price than what I would have got. So, but I just want to point it out. We've just missed a setup. So for now, we just got to leave it alone and just let this play out before we can consider the next one along. Okay. All right. Let me have a look at the final one for the week. Is ASX 200. Let's have a look. I haven't looked at this one for a little while actually. I'm on a different computer today and it's on my chart. All right, so remember we had that huge period. I've never seen charts like this for ASX 200 where it just ranged and ranged and ranged. Eventually we break away. Okay, so normally you would wait there for something and then try and hit it again, but that's beyond us as well. What I'm noticing now is it's starting to happen again. There's a little bit of indecision, so this one's going to be easy. I'm not going to participate on this one. There's just not enough clear direction for me, so let's leave this one alone. Okay, so there you have it, guys. If you want to recap, just go back on the video, rewind it a little bit, and it should help you along. No daily call today. I've just done it all in one combined. I have a prior engagement that I will not be able to do today's class live. It's one of, unfortunately, my days are super busy, and today I cannot do it live. So I've taken the extra time this morning to do the full analysis for you. If you do have any questions regarding a strategy or anything that you've seen today, just email us on the email that you've received this link on. Just email and I will respond to you individually. Hope you'll have a fantastic trading day. Have a great trading week. Just remember those key times again. I'll leave them for you here. These are the key times to look out for. Important announcements. Aussie Dollar is going to be the most volatile pair due to data. I will talk to you tomorrow on the Daily Call. Bye for now.